All right, Capricorn, significant situation in romantic love you're going to be dealing with this month. And for the remainder of September, we have the Sun. A Leo may be significant, but this is about clarity, both for singles and for those of you who are in romantic connections. For those of you who are in romantic connections, this could speak to your love interest energy, but what you're basically dealing with this month is moving through fears, doubts, hidden feelings, emotional baggage, and, being able to push through all of that, sort through all of that, and having clarity and a sense of freedom to make a decision and move forward in romantic love, okay? Now, for singles, this would be about moving through fears and doubts and having a sense of freedom and clarity to pursue the person that you have your eye on or get back out there and start dating. For those of you in romantic connections, this would speak to you or your love interest pushing through fears and doubts and having a sense of clarity and freedom to be able to say yes or say no about moving forward, but in a in a way that is in full alignment. Okay, where there's no more uncertainty. Okay, so you are going to be feeling you're dealing with this month, as I said, pushing through subconscious feelings in order to have a big picture sense of clarity and a real sense of like a weight being lifted off your shoulders, feeling free and happy and crystal clear about what you want and in moving forward in romantic love. Okay, the challenge, obstacle, or blockage, however you face in regards to the situation, we have the Five of Swords. So for singles, this is about in having this clarity about moving forward. The challenge you face is with the Five of Swords being guarded, being strategic, because there's a fear of being vulnerable, because there's a unresolved, deeper emotional wound that you don't want to re-experience. And for that reason, being too defensive and too strategic and not open, okay, and not vulnerable enough. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean all of you will be doing this. It means there will be a tendency to respond in this way because you're still dealing with fears and doubts and baggage, and you're trying to move through that to have clarity and freedom. But that is going to manifest as egoic energy, and it will be a challenge for you to not default into protective, defensive, strategic energy. So that you can have clarity and feel free and move forward in romantic love. For those of you in romantic connections, your challenge will be, or this could also speak to your love interests challenge being, but more likely this will be your challenge, a sense of guardedness, defensiveness, using strategy to move things your way because there is a fear of getting hurt and being vulnerable, and this is, egoic energy. It could also point to, for those of you in romantic connection, some of you may have a toxic dynamic, with your love interest. And Five of Swords energy on the subtle side is, acting like one doesn't care, passive aggression. It could also be being manipulative, calculating, but there's a real, I'm not going to lose, it's going to be my way. Okay, and there is also a reluctance to be totally open and vulnerable because there's that fear that you're going to, or they're going to re-experience a deeper pain that they have experienced or you have experienced in the past. Okay, now it does speak to the root being unresolved core issue, but on the more extreme side with the Five of Swords, this is all out button pushing, being vicious with one another, toxic, okay, being like, very, I did this and you owe me this and you didn't do this kind of a dynamic, okay? But the challenge will be for you, those of you in romantic connections, not defaulting into egoic, protective, guarded, defensive energy. And as I said, for some of you, it'll be on the milder side. For some of you, it'll be on the more extreme side, okay? Core issue of the situation, 3 of Wands. So for those of you who are single, basically you have been waiting, okay? You've been waiting a bit too long. You're waiting for things to feel more stable before moving forward because of this fear of getting hurt, and this, reluctance to be vulnerable again, because that past pain is still stinging and you don't want to. There's fears that if you try again, or if you put yourself out there again, or if you pursue that person that you have your eye on, that you're going to get hurt. So you're just waiting and waiting and waiting for things to feel more stable, when it's really a manifestation of fear. For those of you in romantic connections, you or your love interest is waiting for stability, okay? And that is the core issue. And someone is struggling with fears and doubts about, taking it to the next level and establishing this relationship in a stable way. And for that reason, you're dealing with, whether it is you who is, reluctant to and has fears about taking this relationship and solidifying it, taking it to the next level and solidifying it, or whether it's you who's waiting. This waiting is the root issue. Is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? But someone has fears and doubts about this. And, it could point to the fact that they are responding, that fear is manifesting as defensiveness. Alternatively, this issue of are we, aren't we, and having clarity could be making the other person, their love interest, respond in a toxic way and being strategic because, this waiting game has been going on for some time. Okay. But it all comes down to, for those of you who are in romantic connections, someone is waiting. This waiting is going on too long for this connection to be established in a meaningful way, i.e. commitment and, okay, it's sorted. We're in this. And what's the next level? Okay. And as I said, for singles, you're waiting for things to feel safe and secure before moving things forward. And that's the core issue. Significant past, which has led to the current situation. We have the 4 of materials. So what has led to the current situation of you now having to have clarity about what to do about the situation that surrounds establishing this connection, whether it's you who needs to take it to the next level, or it's you who's waiting for your partner to, or your love interest to take it to the next level. With the 4 of Pentacles, you or your love interest, someone has been, not opening up, okay, and scared, okay, to open up. However, they have also not been walking away. The 4 of Pentacles energy is someone, and this is applies to singles as well, who has, achieved a level of security, financial security, but spiritual security as well, okay? And it's been hard won. And there is a fear and a lack of faith that if someone was to open up and risk, take a risk in order to gain more, that they would lose everything and that security and sense of stability that they've achieved. So someone is closed up and has not been moving this thing forward and has been holding their position. Now, for singles, there is a fear of opening up and losing your sense of stability. And there hasn't been a taking a risk and opening up so that you can move forward. For those of you in romantic connections, as I said, someone has been holding their position and therefore holding up this connection because they're afraid that if they opened up and took the relationship to the next level, that if it didn't work out, all would be lost and they would lose their sense of stability. Okay. And now, however, at this point, for those of you in romantic connections, Capricorn, what you're dealing with your love interest is it's decision time, and because this waiting is really getting, it's at that point where things are going to come to a head. So it is about what's it going to be, yourself or your love interest, and someone is going to have to come up with an answer, and it requires dealing with emotional baggage, which has been manifesting as guardedness, being strategic, holding their position, and all of that. Okay, Capricorn, where you're at currently, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in regards to the situation, we have the Four of Cups. And where your love interest is at in regards to you and the situation, we have the Eight of Swords. Now, keep in mind, Capricorn, that both singles and those in romantic connections, this is a general reading. This could easily be your energy, but it could be your love interest energy as well. And for singles, this could be your energy, but it could also be someone you have your eye on, and it could also be someone who has their eye on you, and vice versa. So this could be your energy, this could be your energy, or this could be your energy and this could be your love interest energy, or someone who has, I hope you get that. Okay, so basically it's not fixed, it can be flipped. Okay, so take it as it resonates. With a Four of Cups, someone is feeling like they're not getting enough from the other person, and they are getting to that place where they are kind of, resigning themselves to, well, I'm not happy, but I guess that's how it is. That's the way it is. And they're not seeing that there actually is. We have Three Cups here. This person is not very happy. They're not content with the level of emotional fulfillment that they have achieved. There has been a level of emotional fulfillment between the two of you, but it's not enough for someone. Okay. And they're not seeing, this is the Fourth Cup, that there is an opportunity to have more. Whether that is seeing that this actually is going somewhere and will go somewhere, or realizing that it's time to move on. Someone is feeling that unhappy. Someone's feeling discontent and is needing more. What are they needing? This is a Four. This is a foundational card. They're needing stability. The connection is there, right? Three of Cups. The love, emotional connection, spiritual soul connection, the intimacy is there, but they're needing the Four. They're needing that foundation. So they're not feeling content. They're not feeling happy, and they're almost losing faith that they could have more in this connection. Where the other person is, and as I said, Capricorn, this could be your love interest energy or your energy. Also for singles, this could be your energy, but it could also be someone who's interested in you or someone you have your eye on. With the Eight of Swords, someone's terrified. Someone's terrified, someone's stuck, they're feeling trapped. The reason why is they're overthinking things, and every idea seems like a bad idea. It doesn't seem like a way out, and therefore they just don't know what to do anymore because, as I said, they're overthinking things. The full expression of air energy, if you don't count the court cards, is defeat and ruin, the Ten of Swords, because mental energy, a reliance on mental energy does not create peace. Okay, the Ace of Swords, which is no mental energy, okay, just an equanimous state, being clear, that is the most powerful air energy card in the tarot. But this person is overthinking and has all these, maybe in real life situation in their life, that there's all of these conflicting things that are going on, but every option seems like a bad option. Every idea seems like I want to move forward, but I can't for this reason. But if I don't, then this person's going to leave me. And then it's just all dead end, dead end, dead end, terrified and stuck. The blindfold here is a nod to the High Priestess saying, so if this is your energy, or cross watcher, if this is your energy and you're feeling stuck, the answer is not going to be gained through strategy, through analysis. The answer already lies within, and everything else is just, a matter of dealing with. Okay, but the real clarity, High Priestess, your intuitive knowing about what you want, you already know it, but it's getting clouded by negative thinking and fears and doubts, which are expressing themselves in a whole bunch of conflicting ideas and thoughts. Okay, so one person's unhappy and feeling stuck, like this is never going to go anywhere, I'm never going to get what I want. The other person's feeling the pressure, feeling terrified, feeling stuck, doesn't know what to do. They're not ready, I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. And then, both people are stuck. Okay? Likely outcome of the situation. Okay. So we have the Three of Cups. I'm just going to cut to the chase. I don't see this moving forward in the remainder of September. I see this dragging into October. So with the Three of Cups, definitely there is a beautiful connection. That Three of Cups, it's going to stay status quo. The reason why is with the Two of Swords, someone is still stuck between, am I ready, am I not ready? The clarity that you are seeking, or your love interest is seeking, Capricorn, is not going to be attained in the remainder of September, okay? And someone is going to continue to feel stuck. And again, you can't see this person's eyes, and there's blindfolds here. Another nod to the High Priestess. This person is still not going within and following what they truly know that they want, okay? And so they're stuck again with indecision. I want to, but what about this? I want to, but I can't for this reason, whatever it may be. For those of you who are single, with the Three of Cups, this requires emotional availability, getting out there, dating, and again, the idea of opening up and being emotionally available and expressive, which is what the Three of Cups speaks to. With the Two of Swords, there's indecision and feeling stuck. I want to, but I'm not ready. I want to, but what if this person, isn't into me? I can't take the rejection. I want to, but, it's too overwhelming. So back and forth, how it will express itself, and it'll be different for each of you, will seem like practical two ideas. I want to, but now's not a good time. But the real reason why is because there's fears, doubts. There is a core issue because the Three of Swords is contained in the Five of Swords, which is manifesting and expressing itself as guardedness and protecting oneself and fear. Okay, Eight of Swords. So singles, you're wanting to connect, but you don't feel ready, and there is fear to do so. You're conflicted, so you're going to be feeling stuck and still weighing out, trying to figure out if you should, if you shouldn't. I don't see much movement in moving forward and pursuing the person you have your eye on, or you pursuing the person who has their eye on you, or you pursuing, dating in general. For those in romantic connections, you or your love interest, things are going to stay status quo because with the Two of Swords, someone is stuck and still stuck between two, they're fragmented, basically. Okay, they're still out of alignment, and for that reason, I see stagnation, and this is going to continue moving into October.